What's going on, guys? It's your boy Sunlight Cove here, and today we're making a response video on a DBD YouTuber named Choy. Not a negative one this time, but sort of adding opinions and maybe pitching how behavior could fix PTBs. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and check out his full video on the subject. The link will be in the description below. With that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed this video.
Every time a new PTB drops, it's almost guaranteed to be filled with bugs. Understandable for sure. It's a test build, but regardless, this does have an effect on collecting good data, right? Now, beyond that, you've got a new killer, a new survivor, new perks, all the shiny stuff, but here's the problem. There's no authentic way to test any of it. If you want to try the new killer, you're looking at 15 to 20 plus minute queue times for one match. And that match, completely useless. There's no matchmaking in the PTB, so you're often playing against very casual players who don't give you any meaningful feedback about the killer. And as soon as they realize you're not a tuna fish with a controller, they're most likely going to disconnect.
That is one of the things I hear people complain a lot about, and that is people who play Survivor in the PTB don't have fun because the killer that they are meant to be testing is a sweat lord and hates fun. And like he says, people think that the killers are just going to be tuna fishes with a controller who just installed the game a few minutes ago. So you know how behavior granted people the ability to test out killers during an event? Well, why not make the PTB a separate queue so casuals can stay casual and people who actually want to test the character can do just that? Also, why not release it to console as well? Have a separate queue for people who want the normal game and people who want to test the new killer out. That way, you have more of a voice when it comes to feedback.
And why wouldn't they? There's no DC penalty, and it's an instant queue for them as Survivor, so they'll just get another match against a much less experienced killer in 2 minutes, right? So now, as the killer, you've waited 20 plus minutes for a match that's over in 5 and taught you absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, those same casual players are now hopping online to complain that the new killer is overpowered because they're not used to dealing with higher skilled players without SBMM there to protect them.
One of the reasons why I never liked skill-based matchmaking in Dead by Daylight is because, in theory, it's meant to keep newer players facing against people at their skill level. That's fine and all, but I don't want to face against a baby Wraith who just installed the game, whoop his ass, and then get a P100 nurse main who doesn't know what the name shower is. I think the absence of skill-based matchmaking is honestly a bad thing for the PTB, and that is because if you can't handle getting stomped by an experienced killer and then DC causing the player who queued for killer to waste even more time because so many people want to test the character, then why have a PTB in the first place? It's not like getting stomped every 5 minutes is fun or anything, but it keeps people from going online and talking about how bad the new killer is on Twitter. So I think keeping skill-based matchmaking is a good thing for the PTB for casuals. That way they'll also have a better voice.
Now, getting back to the topic, let's not forget about content creators here. The second a PTB drops, your feed is flooded with videos titled something like, "The new killer is so OP they can win and bang your mom at the same time." And of course, they look overpowered because there's no matchmaking. You could probably win matches in the PTB using just your toes, right? Now, I get it, these videos pull views, they make money, and I don't blame anyone for taking advantage of the hype, but the problem is that these videos feed into a completely skewed narrative.
Content creators are important for this game because it sets everyone's eyes on a video game the creator themselves like and want to share it with their fans or new people dropping in. That's fine. What I don't like is the over-exaggeration part of it where they straight up steamroll survivors with the test a killer and then go, "Oh my god, this killer is so cracked, I literally banged your mom on stream and played the new killer with one hand. The killer is so easy." I get why they do this, for that juicy view count and ad revenue so they can bag that juicy paycheck in the mail. But thanks to this over-exaggeration, some people have actually gone out of their way to over-nerf a killer because their favorite content creator they take every word like gospel said they were too powerful. This is another reason why skill-based matchmaking needs to be in the PTB. Otherwise, we're going to get those over-obnoxious streamers who make wild claims like, "I'm ended a match in 3 seconds because of the new killer."
Suddenly, everyone's convinced the killer is broken based on a few hours of footage from an unbalanced matchmaking-free environment. And I keep seeing these comments pop up on my old Freddy rework is doomed to fail video since the new PTB released. This video aged like milk. Wow, this aged badly. Because people are drinking the Kool-Aid of the narrative that the rework was an amazing success when nobody even actually knows how this rework is going to feel when it hits the live game. They are basing their entire opinions on content creators who uploaded videos 5 minutes after the PTB released. Like, let's be for real here. There is no way the information in those videos is that credible. It's like the equivalent of reviewing a movie based only on seeing the trailer. Like, you could say the movie looks promising or it looks like it's going to be hot garbage, but they're straight up saying it's the best movie ever made without actually seeing it, right? Which is unarguably cringe. It doesn't make any sense. So if you're parroting those opinions, it's honestly pretty embarrassing.
Which is also another reason why PTBs should be able to be played by console players who don't own a PC. That way, content creators' words don't hold so much power in the community and they can straight up test it themselves. Now you might say, well, Sunlight, they can't program the PTB on a console because it's a different thing. Yes, the hell they can, because Mortal Kombat 1, despite it being a shit game, did it when Ghostface was getting closer to release. You can't tell me that they can't do a thing because it isn't possible when other games have done it before. And now that they're kind of returning the Splinter add-ons, you don't really have an excuse anymore.
Here's where it gets even worse though. The devs take this flawed PTB feedback and try to implement it into the live game. And when the patch drops, it's almost immediately irrelevant because the feedback was based on flawed fictional data. So now the devs are scrambling to fix things again post-release. Plus, even if you take into account the small handful of bigger creators who can actually test the killers in custom matches on the PTB, they aren't really gathering truly useful data either. They are playing against their own communities who already know their builds, their playstyles, and their strategies. That's not an authentic testing environment. As for myself, I spent a few hours playing Freddy in the PTB. Within the confines of what the devs had to work with, I think it's probably the best rework they could have done. But let's not kid ourselves. Freddy's design is fundamentally garbage. He's a disgrace to the Nightmare on Elm Street IP, just like Alien was wasted potential. Uncreativity to the max. But within that limited framework, yeah, sadly, this is probably the best version of Freddy we'll ever get. That said, when Freddy hits the live servers, even without knee-jerk nerfs from the flawed PTB feedback, I think a lot of people, especially the Kool-Aid drinkers, are going to be disappointed. The killer still plays boring. The core identity hasn't changed, and he's not going to be this OP monster everyone's hyping him up to be. At best, he'll be mid, way more balanced, and almost just as uninteresting. So in the end, the modern PTB achieves virtually nothing and eats up developer resources both before and after a chapter's release. It's almost a complete loss with a very little gain. Even in rare cases like the Twins rework where the PTB revealed she was a tactical nuke that needed immediate nerfing, this is still not a strong argument for keeping PTBs. Why? Because even Behavior's own playtesters admitted they knew the Twins rework was a disaster, but they only got to play it right before it hit the PTB, leaving no time to implement their feedback. So even without a PTB, that version of the Twins would have never made it to live servers anyway.
Which is one thing I don't understand about the PTB. Why can't Behavior get their hired play testers to play the game? And once they have their feedback, just use that instead of getting mixed reviews causing the devs to scramble to fix it. Like, you hired the people to play test your game. Use them and get their feedback, and when it hits live servers, go off actual criticism. There's always trolls that say shit like, he's too broken because the killer wouldn't let me win, or some shit like that. But when you have people in your studio waiting to test out the beta of the killer, why does our opinion matter if you're going to end up scrambling with us anyway?
At this point, the only real purpose of the PTB is to generate hype and boost sales, but that comes at a direct cost to the game's health. Worse, it's manipulative and anti-consumer. Most of the powerful stuff shown off in the PTB either isn't as strong in the live version or it gets nerfed quickly, leaving buyers feeling cheated and less trusting of future DLCs, and justifiably so. The last argument I can think of for PTBs is that it lets players test out the new content for free before a chapter releases. But not only does that entirely exclude all console players, but Behavior is implementing a new feature now that will allow players to test these things for free in the main game, similar to how the old Splinter add-ons used to function anyway. And if that's not enough to convince you, Behavior literally just announced, as I'm recording this video, that PTBs are going to start matches now with bot survivors if there aren't enough players currently searching, which just cements the fact that PTBs are no longer generating interest or valuable data. So for all these reasons, I think it's time to seriously consider pushing the message to Behavior as a community that it's time to retire PTBs.
While I do agree with a lot of what Choy says here, I don't agree with the retiring of the PTB. I think it's heavily flawed, yes, but I think if Behavior expanded it just beyond PC players, then the PTBs will be a lot more useful than it is now. It is scummy, yes, but Behavior is a company first, and what makes them the most money, they will take that route. Now, I know about the Junji Ito cosmetic scam with the Orexcel issue, and I will cover that at a later video, but for now, I think the PTB does help boost sales slightly. Now, I know it's more than an Orexcel issue, but again, I will cover that in a later video.
Let the playtesters take on the responsibility, let chapters release as is, and to make intelligent changes based on data from the actual live game. It's less work, gives the devs more time for quality assurance, and generates more accurate feedback. That said, I'm really curious about all of your thoughts on the matter. Do you still think the positives outweigh the negatives? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching and have a good one.
Well, that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Choy did an amazing job making this. Go show them some love. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. And hey, if you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to never miss another video. Stay awesome, guys.